This is alertwolf here to bring you another review. This time it's a movie review, and it is of A Good Day to Die Hard. Now, as the title sounds, it almost sounds like a Bond movie. It's pretty good. And let me just get right into the gist of the movie. As you know, for regular movie reviews, I don't go into everything that happened with my wrap-up, because I figure there's a chance you haven't seen it. So, my anime, TV show reviews, even animated movie reviews, I assume you've seen it. For movies, I assume you haven't. So, that being said, let me continue. Basically, you know, it's John McClane saddling up again, and basically, his screw-up son, in his opinion, is in trouble. Because the movie opens with this Russian in jail who's about to be tried for a crime by his ex-partner, who's like a Russian official. And basically, he says he has dirt on him from their old days that could implicate him and cost him his position. And so he's like, listen, I'll make this all go away. Just give me the file, and there'll never be a trial. You'll be free, buddy. And basically he's like, no, I want my day in court. So that's the premise. Then this guy's away. This is the cause of the movie, right? So this guy is going to trial now. The U.S. feels this is a mistake and says something has to be done. The next thing you see is, you know, John McClane's son go into some Russian mob place and shoot somebody, killing him and getting arrested. Alright, so now we flash over to the U.S. John McClane hears about the fact that his son's going to go to jail for murder, and he figures it's time for him to go to Russia. Now, to sort things out. Now, he says he hasn't spoken to him in years because he's made peace with his daughter from the last film, but he hasn't made peace with his son yet. And his son, obviously, Bruce Willis is playing John McClane. His son is Jay Courtney, and you know, and these are, you know, some new stars, basically. He's done a few films, but and so he goes to bail out his son, and that's why he's going, or at least to see his fate. You know, I don't. He's not planning to break him out. He's just planning to be there for him. Then Lucy drives him to the airport, so we get some cameo out of the Lucy character, and she's like, "Don't do anything crazy." He's like, "I won't." And then he goes to Russia, and you know, everything goes nuts. There's an attempt to break out to assassinate the prisoner at this big trial, but it's staged to look like they were going to break him out. Jack acts to save him. Meanwhile, John sees his son like fleeing. He's like, "You got to stay and face this," and so he starts chasing him. So there's a cool, in the opening, three-way chase scene between the bad guys, the good guys, and John, and they're all interacting. And then eventually, through a ridiculous car chase, father and son get reunited, along with the guy they're trying to save. Things go from bad to worse as they miss their opportunity to get him out, and now they have to figure out another way to get him out of the country. The guy's like, "Listen, I won't give up the file without my daughter." So there you go. Now, the movie from this point on is stereotypical, you know, them being chased, them chasing the bad guys, chasing them chasing the bad guys. Pretty fast-paced action movie stuff here. Now, again, I could get further into the story, but I feel this is all stuff you've learned from the commercials. If I go further into it, I'm gonna give away movies. Now, story-wise, as far as plot goes, this story is pretty good. You know, it's you know, it has some twists and turns. It's their take on the John McClane spy movie, hence the title. It sounds like a Bond movie title. Now, the feel of the movie is a little off. What I mean is, you know, I know some people complain that the dialogue isn't as pithy as it should be, but, which is true, it's a little less smart-assy. But in most situations, and I kind of understand the reason for it in this movie, so understand that, and I'll explain that in a second. But in most movies, it's even when he has a partner in it, when he's John McClane, basically, it's the bad guy versus him, almost in a direct one-on-one. I mean, there's henchmen that he's killing, but it's basically on a one-on-one situation where you know, take all the pictures, they all understand this guy is the guy holding them up, so it's almost the game between the main villains and this guy. I mean, at least that's what made the other films so successful. I mean, 2 had more than one main villain, but 1 had one main villain, 3 had one main villain-ish. Yeah, 4 had one main villain, and 5, it's not that there's not a main villain, because there is. It's that you don't really get that as much. Plus, you always get it a sense of almost a why me? Like, why does this shit always keep happening to me? You know, mentality in the film. But in this case, you don't get that. There's none of that sense, there's none of that grit there. And the reason for it is simple. And again, I understand the reason. I just felt like I would have preferred it if it was there. And the reason is because in this one, he's a father watching out for a son. It's almost a passing of the torch moment in this movie with the father and son. Because his son, unlike previous movies with previous partners, his son is as badass as he is. You know what I mean? He's pretty good. So it's more of a father and son ass kicking, you know, contest between who could kick the most ass in this movie. And because of he had to approach this as bailing out his dumbass son type of feel, or saving his son, or watching his son do work. The feel of the movie was different. Now, you can argue if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I still loved the film. I just felt it was missing. And that's my honest opinion on it. Now, out of the 5 films, this is definitely not my favorite, but it's up there. I mean, all 5 films are really good, so it's tough to judge. But obviously 1, 3, right? 1 was the best, 3 was, I think, the second best. Die Hard with a Vengeance. If I had to put them to the order, I'm gonna say the last film was better than. They were close. I think I like the last one better. This one and then 2. 2 was my least favorite. And not because the movie itself was bad, it's just the one I remember the least. You know, the others I see all the time, they're always on TV, I remember them well. Whereas 2, not so much. I don't. I mean, 2 was still very good, but it's my least favorite of all the films. So I put this one above 2, but not that 4 and 5 were pretty close to each other. The difference between 4 and 5, in 4, it still had that feel of a Die Hard movie, whereas in this one, it just didn't have it. But the movie had great action. It was funny. Not as funny as some people would like, but it was still very funny. Had a lot of fun scenes in it. I definitely recommend seeing it. Now, it's been like 2 weeks since it's out, so I'm sure you could find it and maybe get it at Matinee or something. Now, having said all this, I told you how it ranked up as a Die Hard movie. I'm gonna tell you what I give the movie as an action film. As an action film, I'm gonna give this movie a 4. Why? Because even though it is a sequel, if you looked at it like it wasn't a sequel, and you looked at it objectively, as an action movie, it was good. There were twists and turns in the plot, the story was good, the setting was good, the camaraderie was good, you know. Again, the dynamic between father and son was excellent. So I enjoyed that. Now, as a regular movie, if you're not an action fan, I'd give it a 3. So do you get what I mean here? The difference is, if you don't like an action movie, it's immediately going to drop you down 1 point to a 3. So for an action movie, 3 or 4, and for a person who doesn't like action movies and it's just a regular movie, I'd go with 3. So that's my review, guys. I know sometimes my ratings are a little funny on this, but just so you can get an idea of where it stands. But that's enough out of me, and this is Alert Wolf signing off. But before I do, I almost forgot, click it up if you like it, comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. Oops.